na gwi I Kerry gimmer to heb na Laois clé go heb na Laois dis Marty and so an Akelum.
This match is about to start. Kerry come in with 8 games played. Laois with 4 games played. They lost to Dublin here in the Leinster final. Kerry are the Munster champions, and with an 8-game programme behind them, they would be favourites.
Marsin, tíchlathe imre ige Kerry, Shakin, ige Laois. Laois na soidi chuigalain sniet fwyden Kerry an son agus ganna na harúra on Eden a bhuaig an chluthe Ceathrú Canis, Shane Sullivan, Lisboa, Laois, Damien Breen, a Lord Poitke, and then le Brian Morden, Mac le Ogie Morden darno, agus a Masna Dussahe, a Harahe Dienta Onedig, Brian Sheehan and Lantasach, Schnevis a Hole, and Nidig, Schnevis a Hole Arabo, Nidig, Achanish, Imhimach, Fen Boyd, Mar Lantas, was a Do Kuig, sa chluthe Ceathrú Canis. Agus Countess na Cúil ó Chicéirice Dan Dúna an captain agus Dáhí Géini heb na Laois clé ón Angan Léhánach leis agus fuidir Laois bhile ansa agus Cahar Healy istig sa chuine agus Colm Begley an son Selíne Lechú le Láislí ón Leiltach do bhile vinúrach a chulim dar nó agus am Lord Poitke Brendan Quigley agus Gael Gesiúd le Pádraig Clancy agus Craig Rogers take himachos na lechúil go lápáice is a mesna dusaithe an son rá Colm Kelly St Joseph's agus Colm Kelly stig sa chuine os ráidmhaile agus anathe híig an mirstecha idir bainnéal don 3 bliain as a chéile agus muintir Laoise ní le an agalara rimis Kerry an dáhuid ghearnach a bhfuileidir le chéile gin Laois an bhert na nóchadí agus chach Kerry dal siar go dtí na tuchadí sné barmhéala a hánis ó bhío a bhail na fadóige agus Olive an chaide cha an áde I cait an áde agus túscure leis an immert agus seoché Brian Morden I sellh na caide na Kerry Díar géad a chuir an ónsaí bhfuilteteige Brian Sheehan ó chuman muide buinte ágad an son aige Cathal Ryan builteach agus bachtatsa ge Craig Rogers go dtí Donald Brennan Col Cahar Donald Brennan atsa Thairtic gnóthaige Col Cahar the Bino MacDonald builteach go agus bachtaige Colm Kelly léana góran lethe chúil an so go dtí Niall Danaher Cansig an Niall ach Calais dianta ige Ciarán Kelleher.
Just to clarify what I was saying earlier, Micheál, the Munster Championship this year was run on a round-robin series, so Kerry beat Tipperary, Limerick, Waterford and Clare. They lost to Cork earlier, but then beat Cork in the Munster final in Killarney. In contrast, Laois have just played 4 games in all. Westmeath, Kildare, lost to Dublin Leinster final, and then surprisingly beat Tyrone in the quarter-finals.
Marsin, Deschitsa, ige Colm Kelly, Laois a churchan tusig bhfuilte agus an chéadmhaointe de Laois.
I certainly feel that Laois will have learned from the Leinster final display against Dublin, where in the final 10 or 15 minutes they certainly had Dublin under siege. They began to believe in themselves, and I'm sure that their manager Sean Dempsey will be emphasising a very good start here.
Marsin Arahada Bainnéal den 3 bliain as a chéile agus Laois curchan tusaige agus iad an ónsaí a rís Peter McNulty anna scópaige Peter déanana bhfuil stechan na lína cúg bhéidir agus dahad Philip na caide fós agus Calais dianta Peter dianta go maithaige agus an council na bhuachad. Sin dis ige Laois dul ráfhaointe chun tusig. Michael Tierney agus Paul Cahar seo leis an bhearlá Páirce Craig Rogers. Bhfuilte agus faointe dasan son ige Michael Tierney.
Just also to inform our audience, Micheál, that Laois seem to be playing against the breeze in this opening half. But again, it's very difficult here in Croke Park. It's a swirling breeze, but judging by the flags down on the pitch, you would have to say that it's advantage Kerry for the opening half.
Marsin. Laois déanamh go maith an aig na gaotha. Ryan mór na meach go háir ach pointe go Brendan Quigley. Ná seileh i gaiid. Bhfuilte go híise lige agus go thuir an dalamh. Marsin. Bhfuilte isteach. Bachta stigige go dahí géine. Bhfuilte raigige. Mike Murphy. Gara leis isteach, seans agus bhfuilte haris a trasnán agus Diog Chulín de Kerry.
From a Kerry perspective, this looked rather easy. Certainly defensively, Laois were extremely cut out here, getting inside the marker very easy and driving this over the bar. Very good point.
Mickey Bowler, Masha Fuidin Counson, agus Kerry pointe a bhain chandedig a láthar na huide. Achta go deasan son again, Niall Danaher. Rai godi Brendan Quigley. Niall Danaher, Lena Vroeg, godi Donald Brennan. Godas godi Colm Kelly. Colm, Limmer to Lannon to Rai, agus Deshiga Chris Bergen. Achta Chris. Lorug na Pelle, Craig Rogers, Shahid Craig and Captain. Wordt de sterke schans het gewoon aan de Havoil is tegen zijn Brendan Keely or Havoil. Dus geloof voor een son ik Laois ik Colm Kelly aan de Havoil is wat op Brendan Keely. Colm Kelly. On stride vile. Peter Gadisige, Deshige, and Tio Cown, a Reim Shoe, the Laois. Kijk avoid hem af. Wulte, ik get Colm, agus Pointe, every 3, the Laois.
He's the top scorer for Laois in this minor championship campaign with 2 goals and 12 points coming into the game. He's scored 2 points already in this All-Ireland semi-final, so he's very much the danger man.
Brendan Keely, he'll come in and job Kiana leis an uachtarán agus Díanamh go maith. Bhfuilte machige agus Pixar de Kerry. Laois dianta Brian Sheehan.
This was a real defence-splitting move by Laois as we look at the reverse angle. The goalkeeper here was just outstanding, Brendan Keely, and as you mentioned, Micheál, same club as the president of the GA, Sean Kelly.
Marsin Brian Sheehan. Chuman naibh muide. Deisige an bheár na líadú go dtí an faointe bháin. Bhfuiltige agus pointe gnóthaithe de Kerry. Conor Gorman, Marsin, chunne counsa a bhólamach. Sean Dempsey and son. Ryan Stewart. Conor Gorman, nach fachta go deasan son again. Colm Kelly. Paul Boyle, Brendan Keely. Bhfuilte machige agus Michael Cuddy ash go dtí riadaí adóg séite ag an moltóir agus Sergi.
Hefty challenge here, as you can see. No doubt had to be a free for that foul on Pádraig Reading.
Marsin, Laois eile agus Sergi de Kerry. Brian Sheehan chunne counsa Hogan Choma.
Like Colm Kelly for Laois, Brian Sheehan is top scorer for Kerry with 3 goals and 13 points in 8 games.
Sure, Brian. Wiltige Brian, Wilte heb na lobby clay and Baltus. Arshin, Conor Gorman, now Nishal Wiltige, Wiltige Mahige. Slowno, Ishelev Nakaide, Brendan Quigley. Wiltige Dasamachige, Gadi Colm Kelly. Colm Kelly, Onev Joseph. Stachel Arsley. Agus Miale. Skalom Melech and Martin Ted. Luke Quinn, Abola Trasna. Kerry Bogan Nakaide, Ovinigadine, Nasna Gulahe. Brian Sheehan a show. Shah Brian, the Mehitch in the Hossa. They should get Rory Stapleton. Wiltemachige. This Fachta Anna Yassig at Colm Kelly. Alum Nustachtan. Martin Ted. Into Gadasson, they get Luke Quinn. Joe Lorna Podkit. Mike Murphy. Avola Trasnagas are scope finition, sir. Again, Damien Breen. Nachlesh. Anna Ruher. Auno Nidik. Nicky Bowler. Avola Anon Gideon Gooney. And son Giddy. Dan Donagus. Anisha Trasnan. Higini. Lohish, Pat O'Shea. Banish do it. Pat O'Shea. Ultimacha Joe, Lorna Poitke. Machta Mohanson, they get Brian Morden. Ulta Stachige, Gastana Vartichtenson, the Entige Brian Sheehan. Brian Sheehan, Anon Gidi Dan Duna. Mach Gidi Mike Murphy. Brian Sheehan, Deshiga Brian. Wiltige Hull.
Missed opportunity there for Kerry, Mihal. They have changed their corner forwards. Dan Duna and Dave Geeney have swapped around, and they continue to move continuously, which is part of the Kerry strategy.
Painted heroine, Balustach de Boyd. Lord Poitke, Craig Rogers. Agus College, Dienta and Son, Brendan Quigley. Craig Rogers, Sir Kick no Hege. Will to get Craig, Stach with Chris Bergen. Donald Brennan. This is Sir Kick, Laois. Hence on that, on Laois, in to get Padraig Reedy. Will take a hole in the flat. Hanisha Drasnan on the feet and son. Bad Laois. Donald Brennan. Will Tana Yasser Fadiga. Michael Tierney. I did it all. Peter McNulty. Agus Serki.
Nice little piece of skill there, Mihal. It almost came off for him. He was fouled. Peter McNulty trying to chip it up on the run. Lovely skill here, just getting it, but then came the foul from left half back, Joseph McGillicuddy.
Deishansa ag Laois, meachtasteach go dain séireach ach sábháilta ríist ag Brendan Keely. Ag immert go ma, istig sa chúl. Agus Serchic da Kerry. Multisteach a Jonah Carno ige Brian Sheehan go hard agus anna yeisige Hanna stoppach se Deishansa ag Kerry an hole agus Cole aimsethe an son da Kerry ige Mike Murphy. Ní hé ach Mickey Bowler agus anna húsar fad dianta go siúd.
Beautiful combination here. Again, Brian Sheehan was very much the architect, winning possession in a one-to-one tussle with Carl Ryan. Great running off the ball by Mickey Bowler, who's now scored a goal in the Munster final against Cork and followed it up with another goal here in the All-Ireland semi-final. Great combination play here. Cornerback was unlucky that the deflection fell into the path of Bowler. Great finish though.
Annach tíoch nó ge Mickey Bowler ag gimmert it aus. Ryan Morden a mohalar páirce. Steach go dí dáhí géine. Wilte it wrote him the live edition. Peter Canavan at son agus Mulligan agus idir fad at no and so leis an Laois agus is dóile thug béniuh a lá an Kerry. Kevin Hughes and Fadlar Páirce. Sehe Dan Dúna. Wiltesteach ige bidí Mike Murphy. Mike Iridalov. Nach leis isteach. Wilte ige Mike bidí Barry O'Grady agus Barry O'Grady Harris a Drasnán. Quinte da Kerry.
Again, once Kerry get that initiative, it's very hard to get the momentum back. And the combination here of Mike Murphy and Barry O'Grady from Ballyduff. And with this shot, he literally kissed the goalpost here and it managed to go over the right side.
Pull up Wiltige. Damien Breen. Mohalar na Páirce. Machgadi Dahi Gaini. A Jechentlish. Cahar Healy. Cahar agus Serkick no Hege the Laois. Agus inadí tí techan Páirce a Jerry Coffey tí techan Páirce da Kerry ach seid a bhile agus a Laois an onsaí Wiltesteach a charíist an son Brendan Keely anna bhartaíocht a fad diantaige ag gimmert it aus a chan fellsná na hiwig agus a stechan líontán Wiltesteach go mí ábharach agus téiste anna havála dhéanamh leik sí bhuig agus i stechan líontán.
I have to say that in the early stages the Kerry goalkeeper had been most impressive, but I think he'd be disappointed here. Laois split open the defence. It was good advancement by Keely, but he was overconfident here. He was just a little bit lazy, never expected the challenge, and the ball literally rebounding and going into the net.
Agus Jerry Coffey at a ball da Kerry agus Kieran Kelleher a mehin. Er devile ansa Peter O'Leary. Gachal Arsley, gdi Chris Bergen. Ach skipper her dan Dalov ige siúd agus Serkick da Kerry. Agus Parleise gorstathe er Dalov ansa. Gaffer Morleise chorir. Nen taharú haidianta ge Kerry.
Really, this situation should have been averted because the goalkeeper had done so well here and looked around, and then came the challenge, and literally there was just a touch, just enough to squeeze it into the net.
Chris Bergen, Cart Galore, Jaish Corlaisha Chorir. Kerry at an unsee. Ein Sheehan a Gaidi go hard. Dan Dúna. Wiltemachige gadi Brian Morden. Chancige Brian. Lenike Toig. Ach Roada Edgish.
Well, that goal was really crucial from a Laois perspective because it just looked at that moment that Kerry had gained the momentum. That goal was crucial, and it was such a very quality goal as well. It boosted their confidence.
Colm Kelly, Sláine Hwig, Fachtige, Mike Murphy, agus Calais Right. No. Multoid, agus an adóg sétige, Mike Murphy, Edit Olive. Mike Murphy. After Cor Leishachrid. Club Kiana, Darno, Le Rosie. O'Donovan.
Also famous across my hall for the Moynahans.
Down Fishke, coming. What took it Astonson, again, Dan Duna.
Dan Duna is the top scorer for Kerry with 2 goals and 21 points. Interestingly, that's his first point in this afternoon semi-final so far.
Gorman, Acha Joe Lorna Poitkip, Bachman Soy, Shane O'Sullivan, this ball. Mike Murphy, vi Gorte Hochenev, at the Yannishem Bautasa, Stachgadi, Brian Sheehan. Asame Hamu, Anna Lev, Diente, Egaloish, and Gaunson. Rolled in on say, Bachta Gadasson Soy, and Michael Curran. Ungadi Joseph McGillicuddy. Lon Hooley, Cahal Ryan. Calais Dinter Cahal, Agus Serkik Deloish. Machat Sugadi, Colm Kelly. Onsrod Valle. Ach Deshistach, Edebanel, then Gio Blee and Anna Hage. Rofas, Pachtake Damien Breen. Joseph McGillicuddy, Elm Father. Ryan Sheehan, Anna, Waltz and Eric Bryan. Dahi Gainey, Rahistach, Shansig Dahi. Well, took a glow to get Dahi, get Dan Doon, and Anna Hogloshach, Anna Hov Islandson, I get Conor O'Gorman, Ned and Loy, Harisha Drasnaon, I get Dan Doon.
Wonderful sequence of action, and once again, the main architect is Brian Sheehan, and he's winning very difficult ball. They're high ball in between himself and Cahal Ryan. Wins the tussle, lays it off. This is a lovely ball over as far as Dan Duna. The goalkeeper did very well here. And again, Duna probably should have done a little bit better.
Conor O'Gorman, Amachgadi Niall Danaher. Ailena Kitoig, Agus Serkik, Nohe, Ege Craig Rogers. Craig, an own goody Donald Brennan. Agus ni hach goody Colm Kelly. Serkik, Deloish.
Laurie Greedy is inclined to foul a lot there in that corner. Michael Tierney causing him a few problems.
Michael Tierney, Martin, agus Dishige. Cheshire Shemin to Monacoil. Will to Lena Katogi Gagas and come closer fad only Han, Ille on a year.
Quite a reliable free taker, Michael Tierney from Ballyroan. 9 points going into today's semi-final. He's now scored twice.
Achtergedas, Damien Breen, Dachte Brian Sheehan. And the Kaja walked into Brian. Dachte Guna, Dan Duna, Winterot. Agus Rory Stapleton, Norwegian Sir Kick. Wilter Igedy, Peter McNulty. Anna Talon, Giddy, Colm Kelly. Wiltiga Colm, Giddy, Chris Bergen. Donald Brennan, Wilter Machiga, Bachtiga Chris and Ahuid, Deshiga Chris, Machleshistach, Kurushefe score. Wiltiga, Ach, et have no live edition. Liam Hasselton, agus Queen of Stocha, Eden. Yetchlohe Elle, agus Anayana Michael Scanlon and Farlar Parke, agus John Dwyer and son, Homa, then it was around Odi. Achtergedassige, Brendan Quigley. Back at Donald Brennan, I'm a Hishtachsachuinish, I had Donald, Deshige. Wiltilena Kitoy, Gagas Anna Faintiga, Donald Brennan.
Lovely play here by Donald Brennan, making room and swinging that ball straight over the crossbar.
Anna Walson agus Shahe, Craig Rogers, a Machtastach, Anna Yarrow, Anna Ruher, Diantiga Craig, and Vaisha score, Wiltiga Craig, Wiltiga Hardiga, Agus and Mialish, and Pull up Wiltiga, Agus, Kerry Cousin Guma, Wiltiga Glote, Stachel Ashley, Shahe, Craig Rogers, Bout of Oinelle, Brendan Quigley, Craig. Machan Sugady, Niall Danaher. Niall, then it was the cousin Toiri, Achagunsi, Drofas, Luke Quinn, in the voice to son, Harnashkady, Brendan Keeley. Ultimach, I guess, well, a dear Gecharamach, Hanash Devline, Nietzsche Frisht, Brian Morden, a Dianam Gama, Mike Murphy. Tilena Goran and Bautason again Cahal Ryan agus Laois and Council. Damien Breen, Dahi Gainey, Dahi Gimmert Gama, Stachel Ashley, Ryan Sheehan, Craig Rogers, after Ruher, Bartiantiga, Padraig Reedy and Bautason, the Machkadi Damien Breen. Dominic Carnoige, Wiltemach, Well, Halish, and Baltason, again, Ryan Sheehan. Sair kick no Huig, Barry O'Grady.
No question here that Niall Danaher was fouling Barry O'Grady. I'm sure his manager will be rather annoyed with that sort of a concession of a free so easily.
Can Duna go Shin Queen to Anna Yasafa the Gadam. Conor Gorman Martin on the council of Wallamach. Tiu Blienige at Navinuir. Ball back again, Niall Danaher. Colm Kelly. Ruhensa, Chris Bergen. Back to get Chris. The end of Schliero hin. Not Shelley Anna Thomasach. It can a vaga shin sore fainter father get Chris Bergen.
Well, they'll be very impressed with Chris Bergen's point down in the heat this afternoon. Look at the balance here. Look at the confidence. He held the possession, knew that he had the options available to him, but had the confidence to have a go. Great point.
Ashen and Pointer Koskoid. They all had Donald Brennan. Pála Pádraig Reedy gur leanna sé. Pádraig a teacht amach. Is it Michael Curry. Mike Murphy. Mike Murphy. Ultimach ag ha, dianta go das an son. Lochalta go hall in fad an son ag Niall Danaher. An Holy Luke Wing agus a pass me him agus deise go Dan Dúna. Dan Dúna, Lenach Tóig, achas all ag chach an council na dyna moltoid Marchandale Laois an council. Sair kick the Laois.
A lot of the players are slipping and sliding, Micheál, and it's very evident again, particularly there at the canal end, around between the 20 and the 45-metre line. Seems to be there every single Sunday.
Ishke correct ball, Knie Floyd. Oh, Anach Wallinson, Unoma to Wine Brishe, Lequish. Then Omati Fihit Emre, Dian for a Hanach Wallige, Brian Morden. Wilt Amachat Sagadi, Peter O'Leary, Arnashkadi, Per Healy. Per Healy, Stachel Ashley, Cahal Ryan, agus Goravaris, Shaher Cahal. Wilt Achamehemach, Harisha de Bline, agus Kicklassa the Kerry.
There's 1 minute of added time in this first half.
Arshin and Weigel Toyev score Kinunach, Rivlehama. Pass Goravaris, agus Anna Hansen, Hole, agus Cole, agus Kerry, Didach, Rivlehama, Uid, Anna Kinunach, Barry O'Grady.
Well, you'd have to say Kerry are always looking at more dangerous, more incisive when they do get the ball up to their forward line. And again, look at all the Laois players sucked in to marking the one man, coming through in the overlap, Barry O'Grady. Splendid goal.
Murphy, Mike Murphy, Erenunsi reached, Macadi Damien Breen, agus Brian Sheehan, Lashtig, Shansig Brian Agolistach, Emil the Carnoige, Shansig Hola, Anna Havon, Shansele, Anna Havon, Ferro, get Conor Gorman, Anna Havon,
Fabulous goalkeeping by Conor Gorman, a double save, but again, Brian Sheehan is the potential match winner for Kerry. Laois can't cope with him. Conor Gorman saved once. Look at him again. Brilliant goalkeeping. And in the same goals that Brendan Cummins was producing the saves last Sunday against Kilkenny, Conor Gorman is following in Brendan Cummins' footsteps.
Brian Sheehan is toch grab Dan Dúna in Akelish, the bidach shen passe varasach. Be Shansig heen Choma. Stacker Mlana Horrid. Marshin on make Hiddefuinte Atra Iglehama. Bultiga Brian Sheehan. Agus Bultiga Mahiga. Brian Sheehan thought Hiddefuinte Atra Iglehama.
Second point of the opening half for Brian Sheehan. The referee blows the half-time whistle. A game that has produced many talking points and some fine scores. Brian Sheehan very much the architect of this Kerry attack. He's created numerous opportunities, goals by Mickey Bowler, and again just moments ago by centre forward Barry O'Grady. Gives Kerry, the Munster champions, the initiative at half-time here in Croke Park. They lead here at headquarters by 2 goals and 8 points to 1 goal and 7.
Any other ground, you get a back and a forward isolated on each other. If the forward wins the tussle, he's through for goal chances. You know, we had 6 or 8 goal chances on both sides.
And there's no deviation in the bounce or anything, so if you give him, you know exactly how the ball's going to come to you.
Yeah. And we also have seen what we were talking about beforehand, how slippy it is. Fellas falling all over the place.
Amazing, really.
You know.
Yeah.
So,
well, there was one slip. I don't know whether the ground or the grass could be at fault of the Kerry goalkeeper, who was actually doing very well up to this point. And in fact, has intercepted the ball quite well. But then amazingly, or he's just got caught, I suppose, in a moment, but this gave Laois a goal.
He just came strolling out, you know,
yeah,
as if he was going to have a cup of tea, and it was all terribly nice.
Nice and composed he was, with the ball in his hand, but he forgot
holding it out there as if, you know, like a servant coming with the master's food on a platter.
Watch out behind you, you know, that sort of thing, you know, and, you know, when you have a goalkeeper, first thing a goalkeeper should be doing is get the ball out of the danger area.
With urgency.
With urgency. So a goalkeeper, you know, should always be trained in Gaelic that when he gets the ball, he has a cornerback or a wing back, and he gets the ball out to the side areas immediately. That's the way a goalkeeper should play.
Because he done really well. He had done really well to intercept the ball in the first place, and then all of a sudden.
But down at the other end, Laois will certainly look at the way they defended. Although Kerry took their goals well now when they got the chances, but nonetheless, a few question marks about the Laois defence, I suppose.
Well, I think it's such a lovely free-flowing game. There are bound to be scores, and there's such a lot of elegant, good footballers out there. I mean, I haven't seen a footballer out there yet who doesn't look as though he's up to the mark.
This is back again to what we were talking about a few minutes ago. The Laois goal, yeah.
And you know, he'd done fierce well. Look there, he came out, plenty of aggression, and then this sort of tippy-tappy bounce, and look at that. He'd never get on the Armagh team, that fella.
Well, you know, a goalkeeper shouldn't be bouncing the ball inside. He should play the ball away. And also, I think,
he should be steaming out of there with the ball firmly a prisoner. Like, look at this.
Yeah, well, he was lulled into a false sense of security because the first couple of balls he strolled out with them and give out nice passes. Yeah. And, you know, in fairness, you know, you also have to compliment the Laois forwards who kept hunting for the ball. You know, they didn't give up on it, and I suppose, okay, it's a comedy of errors.
But for that slip, they would have been out of sight, Kerry.
Yes.
I mean, that was...
They certainly would, because they said some of the goals they've scored, they've taken them very well.
Oh yeah, I mean, Mike Murphy's goal was beautiful, you know, and they're such accomplished footballers. I mean, as Colin was talking about this sort of stream of talent that comes through, and it's astonishing to see. I mean, one of the things about Kerry football is that they can all play Gaelic football. They're all good at it, they're all two-footed, they're good fielders, they're good at all the skills of the game, and I understand that's because they discourage negative tactics at underage level.
Grady's goal, which was one of the ones they got in that first half.
Oh yeah, very nicely taken, you know. And there's really been a lot to really enjoy in the match so far.
Yeah, well, I suppose you talk about the stream of talent. You know, if you're born in Kerry, every young fellow wants to play for Kerry, and that's tradition. That's what tradition gives, and other counties have to build that tradition, you know, and it's more difficult, you know.
Yeah.
The traditional counties like Meath are sort of like that as well, that, you know, a young fella growing up, the big ambition in life is to play football for his county. If the big ambition in Dublin, for example, is to play with Manchester United, the big ambition in Derry is survival, I suppose.
There's a difference. I'm not going to tell you what the big ambition in Derry is, but there's a difference in the tradition in Kerry and tradition in other strongholds of Gaelic football. And the difference is that in Kerry, the concentration is on creating good footballers who have the skills.
But again,
that's pretty obvious.
Apart from the goal that we saw, they had a goal earlier on as well. They also created other goal chances. That, as I said, they had Laois on the back foot all the time during that game.
Yeah, and they could have been out of sight, you know, and the Laois goalkeeper's done manfully, although just a wee bit of composure, and Kerry would maybe have had 4 goals. I mean, there was one in particular where the Laois goalie did great work to save a double save, and just a wee dink around the keeper, dummy him on the right, kick with the left. I think this might be it coming up. Lovely fielding as well. Slipping again, look. Just before the match, I was down on the pitch, and you know, there's a layer of moisture on it. So
there's vision. I think one thing that, you know, you can train players to be anything. You can train them to catch, you can train them to kick, but the one thing you can't put in a player is vision, and you saw that from the ball across from Guinea there to Duna. You know, you can't put that in.
It's just lovely, and they're all effortless. I mean, it's difficult if you didn't actually have the replay up here and able to see the numbers. It's difficult to pick one out from the other. They're all equally skillful, you know.
Well, there's some very skillful players on the pitch at the moment down there. This is the INTO skills that you see, and that young girl there, her name is Anya Canavan, and she is the daughter of one Peter Canavan.
Okay,
it certainly must be a very unusual thing, if not completely rare, that a daughter and a father have played in Croke Park on the same day. She obviously has the pace of the dad as well.
I was going to say she didn't take her head of hair from her father's side of the family anyway.
Well done to Anya.
I thought you were going to say she was Plunket Donaghy's youngster there.
Well done to Anya, having or enjoying herself down there, as I'm sure her father will be hoping to do a little bit later on. All right then, we have a commercial break to take right now here at Croke Park. But coming up later in the programme, it's the first of the All-Ireland Senior Football semi-finals between Kerry and Tyrone. An enthralling encounter expected, so please don't miss it. This afternoon as well, it's the minor semi-final between Kerry and Laois. Kerry leading 2-8 to 1-7 at half-time. Let's go back to our commentary team, Marty Morrissey and Micheál O'Shea.
agus snémar há chéir faointe faras báide Kerry ach tá cór na gaothe ag Laois sa tarna le agus is mór a cúna bheith sin a láthar na huidir leona yes gaothe anseo i seolta Laois agus an dáirin Olaf chun túsa chur leis an tarna le anseo dó a hocht le héana seach a láthar na huidir agus an moltóid Michael Daly ag cintú go bhfuil go chéine i gart na bhaclanige caiit an áde agus tús cur leis a tarna le agus seachuin Laois an únsaí Craig Rogers nach leis isteach anna ruthar a dhéanamhaige anna dhéise gur scór a gáil bhfuilte go háir agus pointe anna dheasar fad agus an gárna lídathe go dtí an chúla bháin. Ruthar deasdianta an son again a bheanlád páitce Craig Rogers captain na fórne agus pointe des. Beidir godúrach sé sin inspiráid do Laois. Brendan Keely. Bhfuilteach ag siúd. El a dalamh agus na dóg siite Michael Tierney I bhíonna seileh ach caithfidh Michael Daly an chaidse an áde atra. Damien Breen agus Brendan Quigley. Achta an soige Joseph McElcoy ach slána hebhuig. Ag chur a dábhaile. Agus Tális an Baltason Shane O'Sullivan Lisboil Down fad agus bhfuil chalísteanta Ryan Sheehan stólam go bhfuil Ryan Sheehan tu go hechan talún agus nóta a dhéanamh ag an moltóid anseo don gosantóid gin an chalís an Cahal Ryan Michael Daly agus Cahal Ryan agus Pórábe go co agus Cárta Buí do Cahal Ryan. Marsin, Ryan Sheehan, snéan sanna, Ryan Sheehan a hócaigh an counsa. Brín díidech, éidir líne, cúig beidir agus dahad. Be sé díar an bhearna chéana a choratara agus a bhí ag lehama. Bhfuilte go Brian ach bhfuilte Ed Clay. Mar sin ina dí tí techan páirce ag Kerry tá James O'Sullivan a dhéh líne ach ní sé teachtasteach go fóil. Ein Morton I mihibhuig fachta go Barry O'Grady. Mihibhuig siút choma agus anna chosanta fad a dhéanamh anseo do Laois ag Peter O'Leary. Peter O'Leary isteach go dtí Michael Tierney agus séirchiig nóthaithe ag Donald Brennan. Michael Tierney hócaigh an counts agus thóg sé séirchiig gan anna bhaithir fad sa chéadna.
Tarek Reedy, right from the beginning of the match, has been fouling an awful lot, and it seems to just be a weakness in the Kerry defensive sextet.
Padraig Reedy and son agus Cárta Buí the Padraig chuma. Michael Tierney. Bhfuilte dhéisige Padraig Reedy ach bhí sí mé laistíar den líne.
Well, the umpire obviously feels that he cut the ball behind the line, but let's just have a look at this again. He cut the ball inside. No, that should have been a 45. Absolutely.
Marsin an tála Kerry. Brendan Keely, bhfuilteach aige. Donald Brennan. Dhéanam go maithe chuis isteach sa chúine. Donald le gar leis isteach, Col Cahar de Lino McDonald é seo. Agus Mac Jahar leis an Ráthar Damien.
Using two hands.
Séirchiig Laois.
The defender here claiming that he used only one hand. Well, there's the jersey pull. The referee indicated there was two hands, and I think it was just in that little last sequence there that there was two hands, but there was a jersey pull anyway.
Martin. Deschige, Colm Kelly. Darna Alidu. Stride Valley. Bultige Colm Machta. Bagirach Bultige. Agus. Stoppahigut Ige Shane O'Sullivan, Lisboil. Antamach Gedi Brian Morden. Rachel Ashley, Michael Curran, pass me him Agus. Desh Ige Laois, Desh Ige Peter McNulty. Ach, Bulte, it had no live edition.
In the last 2.5 minutes, Laois have kept the ball in the Kerry half of the field. They should have at least had a 45. They should have scored a point from a free, and then they make a mess of that last intervention.
Corna Guihi Ige Laois. Agus, Anachad Unsaha Anya Nabaka, Arnala. Down the Buha, Bachtige Damien Breen. Damien Gadi Dahi Gini. Anna Faso Rahi Gadi Damien. Rachel Ashley, Agus. Kerry, Gushach Gadassalah na Hood, Dan Duna. Yergili Yanov, Ulta Gadassaga, Dahi Gini, Rishtachagas, Anna Vartich, the Sunday. Kahar Healy. Kahar Healy. The Tachta Goud and son. Ed. Laois.
Very good defending here, Micheál. Look at the corner back in a tussle. Got a hand to it. Goalkeeper emerged off his line and eventually cleared.
Kahar Healy, Agus, Anna Hossin Dientige. Ili. Irgama or Dan Duna. Bultige Dan, Agus Bultige Hallin. Ach Neil, Tan Moyer mi Hasta. Der Sugar Hanische Roa, der Stecher, der on der Linie. Tan Moyer mi Hasta. Agus Stoga Gahagan Multo in Counts an Order. Tapache, Kindlish and Moyer.
Just watch this again. He took too many steps. He didn't take it from the sideline. It was a sideline, not a free. Pat O'Shea, the Kerry manager, was actually protesting with the linesman there.
Mike Murphy, Stach with Barry O'Grady. The Brian Sheehan, Achkalish Dinter, Barry O'Grady. Brian Sheehan on the counts of Hogan. Agus Shansigan, Darna, Kiana, Ave Atra, Agus Avi, Iglehama, Willinchen Council, Harish Drasnaon. Brian, Wultiga Brian, Agus the Wultiga Mahaga, Herefin to Atra. Pat O'Shea, it they have leaned it. Ser kick, no way, Mike Murphy. Stach at Jonah Carnoige. To machen so, Conor O'Gorman. If had a fwig. The Vicky Bowler. Agus the Halish Dinte and Vicky Bowler.
This is probably a ball actually that the goalkeeper should have gathered into his chest rather than punch it clear, and his punch was not a very accurate one.
Dan Duna, Lish on Ser kick, Agus, Wultigama, Ega Dan Duna, Pinta Ella the Kerry.
4 points for the corner forward as Kerry now stretch into a 5-point lead.
Conor Gorman. The counter him on echte. The Mahagigas. Isha Dullard in Unsay. Michael Tierney. Serkik yn oel y bwyltig y siwd, wstach gyda Colm Kelly, yma hywig, sianselig y Colm. Eglierig mechtystach, haid clap o hywig afach, agos fachtig y Peter McNulty, anna iasig y Peter. Agos siansen eisiau Chris Bergen, bwyltig y Chris, agos pwynted as the Chris Bergen.
You may recall, actually, he scored a great point when he held off the challenge of his marker, Luke Quinn. Here there was a lot more interplay between the players. Grabbed his opportunity and sailed it over the crossbar. Good score.
Ashen, Kerry Finte, Atra, Agoni. Craig Rogers. Down hard, Wultiga Craig. Name the hard. Serkik, the Kerry, Padraig Reedy, agus Serkik no hige. Body away the Tachtamach. Wultiga Tapig gyda Brian Morden. Ein y Machta Rúhar. O Rúhar yn ahead ogi, Barca Croke. Agus anna chasúlach, the stach gyda Mike Murphy. Mas stop o hit and son get Brendan Quigley. Agus Serkik the Laois. Dog Shater reached again, Moltoir, agus Sean Dempsey, agus ag de haid is dole man around noir le Shincher Kilchonig, agus be Michael weil na Shincher Homa, Verstachen Zone Carnoige, Damien Breen, Laois the Intershoot.
Just mentioning there about Brian Moore and Sean Walsh's son, Bomber's son, they all play with Kieran O'Reilly's, and I believe that there are certainly going to be 3 fabulous footballers following in the footsteps of their great dads.
Midgeleden, no, daar no. Anach Wallige, Damien Breen, de paneel onder dik. Wilt er eigenlijk tegen die Barry O'Grady en verre voor de koolste keert laat. Desher Goulien. Oh, wilt het liggen Barry O'Grady.
Some high feeling around the centre of the pitch. Wonderful work by Damien Breen.
Michigan Laois in ish, no lid in on see. Just dacht die Donald Brennan. Winter gewoon de lafach. Again, Padraig Reedy. Shane O'Sullivan, the Croke. Wacht again, Brian Morden, the Gadas. Is they done of Schliego hen. And the Kitoig. And Sheehan, the Derek accounts of oil. Best to go. Achordoige, Agus, the Kerry and Council. At Halleisha, got the hit. Colm Begley will be bad. Machte Mihal or Valivin Uruk. Anna Felladoid. Barry O'Grady on the counts of Hogan. Michael Tierney, Stachan Sugary, Chris Bergen, Anna Yeshiga Chris, Wultiga Chris, agus Peitama, the Laois.
Well, it is Colm Bergen's 3rd point from play. It was created by Michael Tierney with a wonderful piece of winning possession. Chris Bergen had options here. There were goal opportunities on here, but he went for the point himself.
Imini Cheshincher, the Shiklop, agus Markle Metti, Anna Sheridan Widden, Fairley agus Fehim Liana, Anna Sheshtach. Shane O'Sullivan, Lisbol. Down the hard. Ryan Sheehan of the Council, Sloan of Wig. Agus after Ruher, it's up the leash. Colm Begley. And a count would just take a column with this leash cover. I don't see. I see it score. Colm Kelly. Agus Erich Sarah Higgedasson again. Michael Corden. Agus kick Hugveder agus Dahat Ghanaian Auris Mariel Council.
Wonderful block down here. Certainly Michael Kern from Waterville deserves full credit for that one. Laois, by the way, Michal, in the Leinster final were very much in this position. They actually very good coming from behind. They almost caught Dublin at the very end.
Off into Stolen with the after and Eden Lee. Bishik Michael Tierney. Darno le do bidi off into Nish. Vi shana Chreener fat zich hier la. Wiltige. Bishi fat do hin en histe han Linton. Colm Kelly dim. Stigen me all avoid it. Colm Kelly.
Colm Kelly from the same club as his manager Sean Dempsey, St. Joseph's. Colm Kelly getting a touch here to Michael Tierney's 45, dropping in here. The goalkeeper again was involved, dropping right in under the crossbar, couldn't get a touch in it, and Kelly was there to just snatch at it and send it into the back of the net.
Martin and Lasser Savarach against the Laois in Unsi, guy in the Schultenish. The Machtestach so, Peter McNulty-nish. Wolte Amachige Peter Goody, Chris Bergen, Nagasta, Laois Huntasig, Chris Bergen.
Well, we were talking about the other full forward in the first half. I really was impressed with Brian Sheehan of Kerry, but you have to say Chris Bergen has scored 4 points from play, each one of them quality points. Just look at this, no messing around, judged it perfectly.
Gimmerted in the hot slot-ish, Chris Bergen against Colm Neil McCarnoige. Nachterai, Niall Danaher. This Cathal Ryan. Anna Tevline. Wulterstach, agus Wo, well, and Tahale Kerry. Now Hayden Multowil.
I think it's a good call by the referee there. It looked as if Michael Tierney was fouled. Let's just see this again as the ball was palmed in. It seemed to be the open hand, and that's quite legitimate.
Ryan Morden, down at the wing. After the Gadasson Saga, Joseph McEllicuddy. After Drachown, Bachta and Son of Rory Stapleton. Kerry Fevru-ish, Laois. Laois, you can see it, Pinta Point, Huntusig. Rory Stapleton, Hassan Gama, Agus. Can an háchtach ná hiige sér chéiceach tá sé gorsta héidir Rory Stapleton. Ailach Paulúil Pelle is er panéal an idig. Wel die pláist na halscoile sa gaileh. Rory. Agus Rory agus Galroch go bhfuil sé gortathe. Pór Laois seachar ar a dhéireann ar a dhéobh líne. Mar sin, beidir go mbeadh ina dtí sealadach a teach an táidce. Mark Timmins beidir. Shestach agus Donald Brennan a déanamh go maith ó chuir Shestach sa chuoine Laois eile go Padraig Reid agus an adóg séite an moltóid séir pic ar a líne 3 vedar díag.
Donald Brennan here, willing to take on his marker, but obviously fouled in the process. And even tried it again.
Colm Kelly an counter Hogant. Bhín díreach ar a líne ar a spotta ar a moltóirlis agus bachar an sin counter har sé dras ná be Laois áfuinte chuntas. Iad a búcín chun dédig Tamalino hin. Bhfuilte agus anna pointe Colm Kelly. Sean O'Shea I techan páidge le Kerry agus Vicky Bowler I fágan na páidge. Damien Breen Scawn na hebuig agus a sé gortathe agus seo Michael Tierney bhfuil baide ligint an Gaunson ach bólaíoga. Tá Damien Breen sínte imó a lár na páidge agus é gortathe. Agus bhí sé siúd ar banéal na rig.
This is the incident again with Damien Breen. He seemed to fall awkwardly there, you can see by his reaction and holding on to his knee.
Na gimmert Craibh Chomórtas a Kerry le Kerry Laois leis na sínsir. Damien agus Dr. Dave Gainey Nakilesh.
You see the way he fell there, twisted, and he fell terribly awkward and obviously felt the pain. Himself and Brian Moran have formed a very strong midfield partnership right through the Munster Championship campaign, but you'd have to say at this stage, Micheál, that Laois seem to have the momentum. Whether or not this injury to Damien Breen will upset that rhythm, because they were certainly becoming the dominant force thanks to that second goal there for Laois just a short time ago.
An lábhan uachtar a láthar na huidig Laois agus iad me gáfainte chuntasig a tá Damien Breen an deiscéal a Kerry ceart go leor. Sean O'Shea gimmert na letas athe. Mar sé lá páidge níos dúisce a Craibh Chomórtas. Johnson achta go deas agus Shane O'Sullivan. Asna na páidge. Ryan Sheehan. Eric Dollar in ónsaí. Bars Scopúil. Bhfuilte go dtí Damien Breen ige. Í gortathe. Mach go dtí Dáithí Gainey. Ryan Sheehan. Cahrar timppla. Damien Breen. Laois anna chosa daíanach ach bachta go Dáithí Gainey. Drach ann. An Micheál le Dáithí agus Laois ar an ónsaí. Donald Brennan. Dar dianta ige Kerry an Baltasa. Laois dianta Michael Corrin on Godown.
You'd have to say in that last week sequence of play, the defending by Laois was most admirable. 4 and 5 chasing and no running off the ball by the Kerry forwards.
Harry O'Grady gadi Shane O'Sullivan. Agus a Laois cosint ar aus ar fad. Well, sair kick no he tá. Joseph McElroy in Laois here. Ili Kiergama. Calnor, Douglas. Oh, pointe inspirada Khatfad. Agus Anish. Oh, Seeking the Finty Atra. Marshin, Laois, Diana Vidaus. Risbergen on Lontasach. Agus Count 4 hoogte Khatfad. Gnohu Hige. Seeking the Finty Atra. Brian Morden, for the double. Laois, a Croke good deal. Brian Sheehan, the Reach, a Stackedy, Donald Brennan. Machgedy, Colum Kelly. Deshelige Colum. Wultige. Agus Anna Feint, to Laois, Gimmer to House. Colum Kelly. It shows it.
Tenacious play by Laois. Wonderful pick-up by Donald Brennan just there, feeding Colum Kelly. And they had options again, and Colum Kelly, just you can see the confidence growing in this Laois team.
Agus inadi takahe Borki Kerry, ta Mike Murphy imihe, agus Darren O'Sullivan takahe von Portki. Marshin, Laois at Diana Vidaus at Fats at Carnala. Nishno Riv, we get Tiele Kerry. Anna Hossent, Ayanov, and so they get Keher Healy, Adog Sheet, August. Barry O'Grady, got to hit, for poor Laisha for it, Barry, Schnee Barry. He made Nomad, Bishop, and Hakada Higge. Hal Ryan, van de Council Hogan. See Nomad, Bishop, Kada Hit again, Multoid. Agus Kerry, the cousin Kama, Michael Corden. Ultirai Giga, so the Dahi Gani, Al Mahogahi. Ach, Laois, Diente, and son, Brian Sheehan, Laois, Diente, get Sir Kick the Laois.
It was funny, Kerr Healy started pulling the jersey, then protested his innocence, then Brian Sheehan started pulling the cornerback's jersey, and he was the one that got caught.
Chris Bergen, Lord Napoitke, Shepwintana Yasso Kienib, Stachatsuga, Donald Brennan, Gansig Donald, Donald and Mackleshistach, Shahed Donald and Waishek Cownelli, Wiltig a hard, I'd have no live edition. Ach, I get it, Winter Atra. Arshen Timple could nomati elefoka edivid. See nomati Brescia, Agus, da nomad. Hatoshi, Anna Imni Finish, can I have na bech? Laois, Roma the Kerry, Lochna Huidi, Craig Rogers, Cal Morard, Alan Kelly, Rahistach and Coolboyd, Brendan Keeley, Lena Goran. Alan Kelly, Agus Laois Dentel, Ed Multoid, Eg Brian Morden, Marshin, Sir Kick, and so. Laois.
This is the goalkeeper coming off his line, Brendan Keeley, punching clear, and he had to be quick off his line. But just on this particular free, I actually don't think Brian Moran was fouling. I think it was a very lucky free for Laois.
Colum Kelly, Neshige, on the Orna Viadu, Gudi Cookie in the Fainty, Agus Laois, Edishley, Gudi, Ohikanish the Head in the Yelrow. Wultigas, Neshta Cookie Natara.
5-point advantage now for Laois. And it looks certainly as if the Munster champions are in a spot of trouble here.
Marshin, Sean O'Buchla, Takahefan Poifke, and now it's Kohi Igeni. Sí nómatí gwile fáca ruthráis le Laois iad útfuintach an tusig Donald Brennan dacha láslí gudí Michael Tierney bhfuiltige Michael agus beagán beag héir na láimh diise. Brendan Keeley dawid leis a gamsa gudí Padraig Reedy Laois an áit ina dúdling óigan fel agus Barry O'Grady haide hinnas ar seo ceann mór fada Jonah Carno i gidíirn Laois diant ar Brian Sheehan dyr ymoltwyr na ffwyl skip a hegan dalov mi o le Kerry ni Rina Railo Michael Corden agus skip a hegan dalov.
Chance here for Kerry, but straight off the ground, as you can see.
Anna Chaleoin, Padraig Reedy, Lena Goran, Shane O'Sullivan, Laois ar Shane. Cumann am ahasa ar Laois. Anna chosint ar fad diantas a tarna lehach agus sin. Echt dyntit synid. Chanson so ag Darren O'Sullivan ach a rís tan bhartiantadig Peter O'Leary Anna bhartiachtaige Peter amachchat sa di Donald Brennan Anna scópaige Donald amach de rothar deisige séfaointach ar atra bédig Donald amach leis fós Anna rothar builtige Donald go hard acha gúlbáide teachtamach Brendan Keeley Evrú agus Serkick nóhuige Most dianach yn ishta Pwynti the Kerry Olo tastalboha Barry O'Grady y Croke Peter O'Leary Rovada Gwiltige Peter Harris y Devlin Ryan Sheehan veder y deshter nach the Kerry nach leis ystach agus Rolam gymeder gyraich enim Meg Rogers a Laura Voltora. Marshin. Desha Kerry, Dollar in Unsi. Gaffer Counsa, Dan Doon of Walla Jonah Carno i Gideon. Ehadi Antige. Ordile Brian Sheehan a Hitchade guided a dollar. Hochel and Brian. Tangawal Diantalisha guided a dollar. We get Hikamacha down the leash.
Small bit harsh, I must say. I think he got the ball cleanly, but when he landed, he did touch the ball on the ground.
Cahar Healy, Wiltiga shoot on a Tevline. Padraig Reedy. Stachgedi Brian Morden. Into Gadasiga Brian. But a Hohiget. Then the Kitoig. Agashane and Vatian the Leash.
Well, it's some show of character by Laois and their manager Sean Dempsey, who gets the congratulations from his colleague on the opposite camp, Tadorshed. Laois, they beat Westmeath, they beat Kildare, they lost to Dublin in the Leinster final by 2 points and were devastated really. They felt they should have done better. Then they went on and they played the Ulster champions Tyrone and won by 4 points. And here they are playing the Munster champions. It's a wonderful voyage for Laois. It's Laois in the All-Ireland minor football final of 2003, showing great character right throughout this championship. They win this afternoon in Croke Park on a scoreline of Laois 2-15, Kerry the Munster champions 2 goals and 10. Back to you, Michael.
Marty Morrissey, Micheál O'Shea, thank you very much indeed. Joe Brawley, Colin O'Rourke watching that match. It was extraordinary, Colin, the way the thing turned around when Laois got that goal, a fortuitous goal. Up to then, they didn't look like winning the match, but then they went on from there and they were just superb.
Yeah, I suppose Brendan Keeley, in fairness, won't have good memories of his trip to Croke Park today. But, you know, it was a very difficult ball to deal with. One that goalkeepers hate is coming in right at crossbar height. Should he put it over? Should he catch it? Your hands are inclined to hit the bar when you come up and it comes back out and is flicked in, and this goal really changed the whole game because Colin Kelly getting his hand to it, and when Laois got that goal. I think it was the first time that they really looked like they were going to win the game. And, you know, the last 10 minutes of the game belonged to Laois. They showed tremendous fighting spirit. And 2-15, if you score that in a 60-minute minor game, you'll always win it.
Absolutely. I mean, their play, I suppose, all through, in fairness to them, but certainly at the end, in that crucial period of time, they let the game flow. They really played nice.
You know, they were right integrous, but, you know, minor footballers are so susceptible to things going against them. And unlike a senior team that's built up a bit of experience and resolve, you know, whenever the goal went in against Kerry today, you can see the Kerry lads' heads going straight down, couldn't you? I mean, all of a sudden, they just drained out of them. And Laois just put their shoulder to the wheel, and that was really it. I mean, the tail of the game were the 2 goals. The first goal had kept Laois in it in the first half, and then the second goal, you know, it was a tough old day for Mr. Keeley, but these things happen, you know.
Keeping his fingers crossed, the confidence would drain out of his senior team like that.
Yeah, well, Kerry minors have had that experience for the last 2 years in Croke Park. Again, give away sloppy goals again against Meath last year and lost the semi-final. They repeated that. It's a warning to the Kerry senior team coming out, because Kerry minors played beautiful football for about 45 minutes and end up losing by 5 points. And the seniors are capable of doing something similar, because they play lovely football. But sometimes then they leave the door open, and, you know, the horse is bolted by the time they have got back to mind the nest. So, like, in that way, it's a warning to Kerry. Kerry would be better off to play with less beautiful patterns and win.
Okay, well, Kerry have lost the minor match here at Croke Park. The big game coming up in about a half an hour's time. That, of course, between Kerry and Tyrone. We're back with the build-up to that right after this break.